What's up, guys? How we doing? Do you want to make your life easier when it comes to CS2? Well, in this video, I shall cover a few things that help me in my day-to-day life when it comes to CS2 information and skins. I hope that you are aware that skins have different wears, different floats, and different patterns in some cases. Yeah, you can check those like that. You can just inspect the item, you can see the float, you can see the pattern template, but why are these relevant? This information is relevant so you do not get scammed, sharked, and so on, because people might want to take advantage of you not knowing some information about the skins that you have. So, because sometimes I buy skins and sometimes I sell skins, I need to know what the current prices are. So, one of my main tools that I'm using is the following. The Buff 163. Because this is one of the top marketplaces that gives meaning to prices. Traders and resellers nowadays, they buy at 90% buff and sell at a higher rate. However, at the end of the day, buff is the reference point. Now, let's say that I want to buy an AK Bloodsport in factory new. Currently, one of these sells for around 110 euros. So I know that whatever offer I will make to the seller, whether is it 90%, 91%, 85%, 93%, it would revolve around this number. Let's also look at a different scenario. Let's say I want to buy the same AK, but I want a super good float on it. I want it to be with the 000. So in that scenario, I can play around with the filters, which is very useful. And then I can see that the cheapest listing goes for around 140 euros. So in this case, whatever offer I'll be making to the seller, again, 90%, 91%, 85%, whatever that may be, it has to revolve around this price. Let's turn the other way around. Someone approaches me and tells me that they want to buy my Glock Gamma Doppler and that they would offer me 45 euros, which is 90% buff price. Would that be the correct price? Well, if it's a Glock Phase 3, perhaps. But in my situation, it is not, and I'll tell you why. My Glock, as we can see, it is a Phase 2. Therefore, I need to look for a Phase 2. Notice that the difference price goes from 50 to 57, so that means I can already ask for some overpay just because of the phase of the Glock. But I'm not done. We can also see that the float is 0.02. So in this scenario, if I play some more with the filters, I can look for this particular float. And we can clearly see that this Glock currently goes for 76 euros. So what the buyer offered me would be an unfair price. I can ask for overpay because of the phase, but also because of the float. Now you may wonder, how come the skins have colors on them? And how come I can see the prices, I can see the float, I can even see the fade, and I can see the pattern ID. This is another tool that I use. It is actually an extension. It is called CSGO Trader, and you can play around with it. For example, do I want colorful items? I do. Check. Do I want to see the pattern IDs? Check. Fair. Do I want to see the float ranks, as in, do I have a number 1, 2, 3, highest float or lowest float? It doesn't really interest me because I don't collect those, so I have that unchecked. And then with regards to the pricing, I can choose the pricing provider, which is super good. Maybe I want Bitskins, maybe I want the Steam Market, maybe I want CS Money, maybe I want Skinport, but my advice is to just go with the buff starting price, which is the lowest listing. With regards to the currency, you can tailor it to your personal needs. Do you live in the US? You can do it in USD. Do you live in the European Union? You can do it in Euro, and so on. And then with regards to the real-time pricing mode, normally I just go with the asking price or the current lowest listing that I can see on buff. Now, as a little test, we can see that there is a small discrepancy because the prices, it takes a bit of time for them to update, couple of seconds, couple of minutes. But my AK Bloodsport, according to the extension, it costs around 109 euros, whereas on buff, the lowest listing goes for 110. It's a small difference, but then again, the price is relatively accurate. CS2 Stash is another website that helps me around. Not as much as buff or as the extension, but for the people that are interested in skins, this website has it all. You want to upgrade your collection to some Mac 10s and you're missing something, boom, you go here and then you can see all the Mac 10s available in the game, select one that you're actually needing for your collection, and then start searching for it on third-party websites so you can get it at a cheaper price. Be mindful that the prices shown around here are the Steam Market ones. Now, back to the collections and filters, it is super useful to just browse skins around and even see some historic information about them. What is their collection and when they were added. Like this collection, for example. Let's go for Gods and Monsters. It has the Medusa, it has the Poseidon, it has the Icarus Fell, and then it has all the other nice looking skins. Okay, but when were these skins added to the game? We can see that they got added into the game in 2015, which is almost 10 years ago. Oh, and before I wrap up with CS2 Stash, it's also nice that it contains literally everything. You want to look for music kits? You have all the music kit collections. You want to look for agents? You got all the agents. You want to look for all the pins? You also got those. So it's super convenient that you can just browse every single detail that is related to this game. Another website that I find useful for me is CS Float. What can I do here? Well, to begin, I can buy and I can sell skins because it has the marketplace function. However, what interests me is the database for skins. Now, let's see how many dragon lores are there in the world. Currently, there are about 5,000, 6,000 dragon lores. There are about 6,600, let's say. Obviously, some of them are already banned, like these guys, but that's a different story. Now, the next question would be, how many dragon lores are in factory new? If I search this again, I'll be getting, okay, 2,000 dragon lores are in factory new. If you are a high-end collector with Kato 2014 crafts, well, this website again can turn out to be super useful and in your favor because of the following ability. You can search a skin based on the sticker that is applied on that particular skin. So let's say I want to see all the dragon lores in the world that have at least one iBuyPower holo. In total, at the moment, there are 14 dragon lores that have at least one iBuyPower holo. Before I move on, I would like to point out one more thing that is super useful with regards to CS Float, which is the Tradeup function, the calculator. Why is this relevant? Well, for me as a content creator, sometimes I manage to pull off a Tradeup contract and I do it for fun. Whereas in your case, if you want to know the odds of getting a particular item, or if you want to understand how these Tradeups work, well, I can say that this calculator could be very useful for you. Now, let's see, I want to do a Tradeup for a dragon lore. So for that, I will need a knight. Now, in case I want to play around with the odds, let's say I'll put 2 knights, even though they're super expensive. They're about 2,500 euros per piece. And then I'll need some fillers. And these fillers can be P250 undertows. Because on top of them, you have one more red skin. And that increases your odds. We can see this is a 2080 type of contract, right? I have a 20% chance of getting a dragon lore, and then I have an 80% chance of getting absolutely destroyed. But let's say I don't want to use the P250 undertows and I want to use something completely different, like a Nova Antique, for example. This comes from the Phoenix case, and as outcomes I can have the Oak Chameleon or I can have the Op Asimov. However, my chances for a dragon lore, even though I still have 2 knights in it, are much smaller. As you can see, I went from 20% to 11%, and that is due to the fact that in this collection with the Nova, I have 2 red skins on top of it. There are 2 more websites that I'm using almost on a continuous basis, and then I can stop the rambling. Remember that I use these websites based on my personal preference and interests. If you need something more detailed, the internet is your friend. However, if whatever I've shown you today is too much and you want to stick to a much more simplistic approach, be my guest. You can use any website, you can use any tool that suits you the best. Now, on the screen, you can see Price Empire. Why is this useful? To be honest, I don't spend too much time here, but I like to see how the prices increase throughout time for a particular skin, and I can also compare and contrast the prices on third-party websites. For example, this is Well Worn for Wild Lotus, and you can see that on D-Market it costs $4,600, on CS Money it costs $5,000, and on Buff it costs $4,417. And with regards to the all-time performance, I can check the price performance for the last month, I can check it for the last 3 months, I can also check it for the last 2 years. You can see that this AK has been performing quite well. The last website that I'm using is more about the looks. If you want to customize your skins with stickers, you can do so on CS Inspect. Why is it convenient? Because Valve launched the sticker update a while ago, an update that allows you to choose where to place your stickers and also allows you to place a 5th sticker. Now, let's play around with this, shall we? I would like to get an AWP Sunny Leo as a starting point, and then I would like to customize the whole scope to a color that is kinda matching the body of the AWP. So I think there was this sticker called Web Stack. I'll multiply this times 5 and then I can start placing this sticker around. So I can see what my expectations would be with regards to this AWP. So on the website it doesn't look that fancy. However, the advantage of the website is that it generates this code over here that you can go back to the game, you can open up the console, then you can copy paste that code over here. And that is going to generate the desired craft. That, ladies and gentlemen, wraps it up for today. I hope that I managed to simplify your life when it comes to CS2 items and details by providing you with this brief tutorial. I wish you a wonderful day ahead and see you next time.